Uh, what's up, YouTube? I'm just going to talk a little bit about something I noticed that's very uh, life-changing information that I've come to realize recently. The past, I want to say, 2 months after becoming more of a scientist myself. In the ways I've demonstrated, it's believable that I would make such a discovery and want to share it as soon as possible with my viewers in hopes that they would take to heart what I said and try to test this theory out for themselves. Because if it works, it will be very good for their life ahead. Okay, so anyway, it's pretty clear what I'm going to do is talk about car oil, engine oil. You can look up on you can go to a lot of different reliable sources for this. Okay. You can go to basically any website that's a car, you can talk to any car mechanics. You can go to any car brand dealership. You can go to any car store. You can ask any professionals that are guaranteed to understand anything about cars. Just ask around and you'll get the same answer and you go online too, and it says, and you can read books, they'll all say the same thing, that it's true that all it comes down to is the fact that oil can basically, how do I say it? It oxidizes at the temperature it says here. You can see other sources, what they have to say. You can watch videos. And if this is really true, and that's the temperatures, first of all, this says AI overview. It says generative AI is experimental, but that doesn't mean it's wrong about this. So this is a good answer. These are all good answers, of course, but so yeah, basically, long story short, with this all being said, there's no reason to get oil changes. Oil changes is an industry scam, because as long as you don't drive your car too fast, it should be fine. Because unless it's a really hot day, like if it's a day that actually does have the weather outside does have it's hot, like that hot out, which is kind of impossible to happen unless global warming gets worse to the point of it happening. But otherwise, it'll never be that hot out. So I mean, I'd say you might. Now, this is only for summer, of course. Because this is just for summer, and in summer, I'm not saying this. Okay, look, this could be true for winter and cold seasons. It could be true for all year long, and here's why I say that. First of all, going by physics and science here, particles, the air particles will oxidize if they're heated up enough. But if they're not heated up, they're not going to lose their some of their properties to even become carbon. And then so for that reason, carbon obviously then will not form from your oil in the winter. So if they say that, then that's an industry scam being taught by greedy car companies who want you to fall for it and buy something you don't need to buy. Because in the winter you'd have the opposite effect of oxidization on oil. In warmer seasons, it's more likely obviously. In warm seasons, you loosen up the molecules of the air, so it's much easier to knock the heat out of the air so that it can become solid carbon. So yeah, it's pretty obvious that on an in most years the temperature doesn't reach that outside, so your car engine won't reach that temperature. Car engines have like they have openings in them so that they can take in air and release air, have airflow, so that it doesn't get infinitely hot in there, obviously. Hence why your cars last at all. Your car, of course, then won't reach that temperature unless it's a hot day. Let's say it's 90 degrees out. 90 degrees Fahrenheit out, or let's say it was 100 degrees Fahrenheit. You'd have to drive really fast to increase the temperature of your engine many more degrees. But yeah, I mean, like, it all depends how fast you drive. Like, honestly, if you're driving really, really fast, you could reach 240 degrees Fahrenheit, and then the oil will start to break down. But if you were just going like a slower speed, then the engine isn't gonna work as hard. And so then if you go a slower speed and if you drive in a zone where it's like slower, then yeah, you'll be fine. But if you drive in like the expressway, you might reach it on a hot day but yeah, I mean, it just depends. If you're on the expressway and you're driving 70 miles an hour, which is the average, of course, and it's 100 degrees out, you're still not going to reach 240 degrees Fahrenheit. One evidence for that is the fact that if you did, then every time we drive 70 miles an hour on the expressway on a hot summer day, then the oil would oxidize every time right away. All of it would oxidize right away, because if you drove that fast and it turned to 240 degrees Fahrenheit, then all the oil would be 240 degrees, and then it would just turn to sludge right away, just in one trip on the expressway. So, but the fact is, people go 70 miles an hour on hot summer days, and it doesn't happen, and it never has. So, if you drive the fastest you're allowed to go by the law, which is 70, in most places, even on a hot summer day, you still won't reach 240 degrees Fahrenheit. So, for your oil, so you never, as long as you do that, and that's the fastest you go, and your car doesn't have any other serious engine issues, then it should be fine, and you'll never need to get an oil change, because the oil will just never reach. It'll just never reach 240 degrees. Every single time you drive, it'll never reach it, because even when you go the fastest you're allowed to, it doesn't reach it. So what are the chances if every other time you drive it's going to reach it? So it never work. So It's an industry scam. Stop getting oil changes. Okay. And if that's the case, then you have wasted thousands or hundreds of thousands on oil changes, and you have been scammed out of thousands. Just let that sink in. What could you be doing with that money today if you still had it in your pocket? Which should say something about if I'm really right about all my other arguments. Long story short, don't believe everything you hear, because a lot of what you hear is just what's generational interpretation and banter taught by everyday people who don't really care what's true and don't care if you're scammed or not, and would probably prefer that you do get scammed. So yeah, don't trust everyday people for everything. You can only trust them for some things, like I've been saying for years. All right, so anyway, if that's the case, then just before you go if you have to go to the oil change today, in your opinion, change your opinion. Don't go. It's a simple set of evidence, okay? Just learn a little bit of the chemistry here and the physics. It's not that complicated. You can even ask a teacher if what I said could be true, and they'll say yes. Now, just because you ask the teacher and they say yes, doesn't mean that they would have told you if you didn't ask them. A lot of people won't tell you an answer to a question unless you take the time to ask them the question. So if you're wondering why the teacher wouldn't have told you otherwise, because you're not really approachable to the teacher or the person per se, and people have their own schedules to attend to, so consider that too. Stop going to the oil change. Just stop doing it. It's a complete scam. Stop giving money to greedy corporations that ruin your life day by day, century by century. Just stop going to oil change. And I hope you enjoyed. Please like, share, subscribe. Bye.